Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Roling. Do you believe you are capable of choosing your future? Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in you, for you to believe in yourself. If you find yourself continuing to say, someday I will take better care of myself, only to continue living the same day over and over and over again, then you, my friend, are in the right place. I am your biggest cheerleader, inspiring you to become you on purpose and with intention. Are you ready to create a life you love? I'm excited to share with you some big ideas that you can use today to inspire, impact, and influence your life and everyone in it. The Becoming You show starts now. Hello, my friends. How are you? I hope you are doing awesome. I love that you're here with me. And I know that seems trite, but I hope you feel just how much I love knowing that I'm just not here in my office talking to nobody. When I'm out, or you email me or text me or tell me that you listen to this podcast or you listen to something, I get giddy. Like I get so excited. So if you were that person that ever reached out to me by email or by text, or engaged with me somehow, some way, in person, however, and said, hey, I listened to your podcast on this or listen to that, this thanks is for you. This appreciation is for you. And it's for, of course, all of you that are tuning in. So I am so excited about today's topic, which is time. Time. I talk a lot about time. I coach a lot about time. And yet I don't know if I've ever done a full podcast around time. So I thought I'm going to do that. So this is what we're doing today. Okay. So dig in. Here's how I want to preface this whole show. Most people, right, I know, feel as if they don't have enough time. They feel overwhelmed in their life because of how many things that they have to do and how there is not enough hours in the day to do everything they have to do. When people suggest self-care as an option to better manage time, they laugh, right? The idea around self-care used to be selfish. It was selfish to think and do something for ourselves. And now what I feel, and though some people still think that, and just for the record, it's not. I believe, and if you've listened to me for a while, you know my thoughts on this. I think it's selfish to not take care of you and then to expect other people to do it. That's what I think is selfish. But most people have shifted from that to, right? I just don't have time for it. I don't have time to do the things that might make me feel better, right? Because if I do, something will fall through the cracks. If I take my eye off the ball, my business will implode. My teams will be misguided. My family will crumble. I must not take my eyes off the ball, or they will drop and they will fall. And as a result, I will fall as well, right? It's no wonder that 75%, that was the last research that was done on this, 75% of owners, executives are burned out, overwhelmed, frustrated. It takes massive amounts of focus to juggle all the balls all the time without a break. Except for maybe the time when we crash into bed, okay? Only to wake up panicked just in time to retrieve the balls that just so happen to magically stay afloat, right? Until just the time you woke up to catch them. Unconsciously, no doubt. Back into the juggle game of your life. There has to be a better way, right? And there is, okay? This is what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about it all month long in our membership next month. So if you are not in there yet, get yourself in there, especially if you struggle with time, overwhelm, and feeling as if there's just not enough time. We would love to have you in there because we are going to teach you in there how to create more of it. Okay? So As I like to do when we talk about a new topic, and again, it's not new, but it is a topic that I'm kind of teasing out for the entirety of the podcast, I do it by defining it, right? So most of us would agree that time is the most important, the most valuable asset we have, or one of them, right? It's also the one thing that we all have the exact same amount of. Isn't that fascinating to think about? Or maybe that's just my mind, right? But it's the one thing, right, that we don't think we can get more of, right? We don't think we can, even though we try. We try to manage time all the time. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, have you considered there is a way to manage yourself so that you can create more time within the time you have? Because here's the thing, time just is. It's a mental construct. It was created by humans. Like, think about this. Before language, there were no years, there were no months, there were no days, no hours, no minutes, right? It truly just is a mental construct created by humans. It's just a way that we manage our mind around each day. So here's the definition of time. The definition of time is the indefinite, hang on a second, I wrote it down here, the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future, regarded as a whole. Okay? I'm going to read that again. The time, the definition is the indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, in the present, and the future, regarded as a whole. Now, I know that's a big mouthful, but progress of existence. Time is progress. How flippin' cool is that, right? Considering this definition, is that what time is? Is that what time does in your life? I'm pretty confident that most people, if offered, would gladly accept more time, right? How many times have we offered this to anyone who would listen? If I only had more time, if there was only one more of me, okay? How many times do we say that? Why do we want one more of us? So we can get more done. Why? Because we don't have enough time. If I could just have one more day every week. Most of us want more time in our days. We want more time in our months. We want more time in our years and yes, in our lives. But have you ever thought about why? Why is it so valuable? Why is it the most valuable asset we have? Why is it important to you? Do you know? Have you thought about it? Right? I mean, have you thought about which is more valuable, time, money, your brain, right? With time, you can get more money. With money, you can buy more time, and our brains can create time and money, right? But either way, spiral, another podcast for a different day. If we all agree how valuable it is, whether it's the first, second, third, or top 5 most valuable assets that we have you really ever thought about how you manage it, or rather yourself around it? Okay. Have you ever thought about how you invest it? Right? When we think about the model that we teach, right, it becomes incredibly apparent whether or not we are wasting time or investing time. Okay. I like to say that time just is. Whether we have enough of it is just a thought, and that thought matters. If you feel as though you don't have enough, you won't ever have enough, right? And if you join us in the membership next month, we're going to walk through why that is. But I want to tease out just a little bit for you so that you can leverage yourself around time so that you can actually be the creator of it. Okay. So if you have enough, okay, you will have plenty. All because of how we show up in relationship to it. All because of what action we take because of our experience with it. Now, keep in mind, time does not change here. Time just is. But the way you think about it will change how you plan, how you use, and create within the time we have. Okay. So we are addressing in this podcast and in the membership time as something your brain uses to create and live the life you want, or to sabotage and procrastinate and live beneath the potential that you are. So, how do you use your time? Can you answer that question for me? Do you know? If time, as I've mentioned, is a most valuable asset, I think it's important that we understand what we're currently using time for. How do you use your time? Trust me, I promise you use your time. You use every single minute, every single hour, every single day, every single month, every single year. I promise you, no time is left unspent. The question is how? One of my favorite exercises to do is what I call a time audit. Okay. And we're going to, like I mentioned, go deep, deep, deep into this month. But for you today, could you spend 5 minutes just writing down how you spent your time over the last 24 to 48 hours? Like literally make a list of everything that you spent your time on. Okay. Everything from texting to slacking to emailing to scrolling to Amazoning to Netflixing to eating to deciding to worrying to working to sleeping, right? Okay. Now, when you consider how you spent your day, what are your thoughts? If you got to redo, what would you change? What would you do different and why? Because the reality, friends, is that most of us don't live our days as intentionally as we could. We navigate our life unconsciously on default, feeling as if we are living in Groundhog's Day because most of us are. And if we felt overwhelmed yesterday, guess what today will bring? Guess what tomorrow will bring? Guess what next month will bring? More overwhelm. What do we have to do in order to appreciate time as the gift that it is? Right? For me, I sometimes think about it and I imagine, what if tomorrow was my last day? What if I only have 24 hours left in this life? How would I spend it? And I think about that, not because I've faced my own death like so many of you have, but because I lost my mom a while back. And I promise you, I might have done it differently had I known that that was her last day. And I use that memory of opportunity rather than a memory of regret, because I could go either way with it. But I use it as a memory of opportunity to realize I don't want to waste this day. I want to live this day as if it were my last, right? Now, how would you spend it? That's the question. How would you spend your day if it was your last? Okay. I promise you, I'm having a plan. I'm not going to let my last 24 hours of my life to the random nature of my toddler brain. I'm going to plan what I want to do. I'm going to plan whom I want to do it with. I want to plan the conversations. I want to plan it all. There's tremendous wisdom, friends, in comparing these 2 days. The day that was yesterday, just 24 hours, just what did you do, right? And that very last day, okay? And while most likely we can't live each day like it was our last, I guarantee you probably aren't living your current day like the gift that it is, like it's the only life you have. When we can be more deliberate with our time, we can put more time into our days and we create more fulfillment. Why? Because we can fill our days with conscious moments on purpose instead of mindlessly going through the motions with time running our life versus us choosing our life with the time that we have. Do you see the subtleties? They're massive. They're massive. I want you to think about how your life would be different if you were willing to live your life with even half as much care as you would that very last day of your life. And here's the thing, most of us don't know when that is. So the invitation now and every day from here on out is to live it on purpose without regret in a life that was wasted. Because when we think about it that way, we can step into the opportunity and the gift that it is. And the other way, that opportunity evades us. So let me ask you one more question. What is your relationship with time? We talked about how we use it, okay? This gives us an awareness of what our relationship is with it, quite frankly, right? But most of us have not thought about time in this way. We've not considered that we have a relationship with time. We've not considered that we have thoughts and beliefs about time, right? Most of us just take time for granted, right? We haven't decided what we want to think or do with our time in a very deliberate way. Now, don't you think that if it is the most important asset that we have, that we spent a little bit more time thinking about it rather than deflecting it and criticizing it, that it's never enough, right? I don't know, but I just don't think that's a very kind way to think about the gift of time in that way, right? If you spend a little time either pausing or like revisiting some of these questions specifically around time, I guarantee you, right, it will completely transform how you live your life and create in your life. And what I find so fascinating is that if you were to think about what you think about the most, okay, maybe it's your business, maybe it's your clients, maybe it's your teams, maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your money. Isn't it probably true that there is a time component to all of those things? There's a time component, right? There's a dashboard. There was worry and concern on that dashboard around time. I don't have time for my business. I don't have time enough to serve my clients in the way that I want to. I don't have time to really cultivate and nurture and love and enroll my team in their potential. I don't have the time that I want for my family. I don't have the time that I want to really take care of my health, to take care of my money. And yet, how often are we thinking about that very relationship, the one with time itself? Okay? Because here's what I know. The way you think about time is the way you end up spending it or investing it. The way you think and spend your time will determine what you create in your life, the results of your life, and ultimately the outcomes you either want or don't. Okay? So, as you know, action creates results. Actions require time. Actions create time. And our thoughts then determine our actions. Do you see that? So, where are you with your current level of beliefs around time? Okay. So, I want to talk a little bit with the remaining time that I have. And again, truly, friends, I would love to see you guys in the membership, especially this month coming up, because when we understand time and we understand that we can actually create time in our life, I want you to think how that will impact, how that will transform the way that you show up in your life. You show up in your business, you show up for your teams, you show up for your health, you show up for your kids, and you show up for yourself. Because here's the things. We have time because there are certain things that we do that cost us time, and there are certain things that we do that make us time. And then there's the compounding nature of time. Okay. We're going to talk about everything that costs us time in the membership. We're going to talk about everything that makes us time in the membership. And then we're going to talk about how to compound time in the membership. Okay. Because when you minimize the things that cost you time, simple math here, when you maximize the things that create time, that make you time, you essentially then have more time. It's the same thing with money, right? It doesn't matter how much money you make. It matters how much money you have, right? So we have to understand where we're spending money, where money is costing us, and how we can save money. Because the difference between how much money we save and how much money we spend is how much money we have. Okay, that's the difference. And then that having there's a compounding effect on that having of that money. The exact same principles are true for time, and that is what we're going to explore. So when you understand where you are spending your time that's actually costing you time, and it's not minute for minute, friends. It's not second for second. It is exponentially. You think what costs you a minute, or it costs you a half an hour, or costs you an hour, is costing you that in time. It doesn't. What costs you a minute is most likely costing you an hour. What's costing you an hour is most likely costing you a half a day, if not more. And that's not because I say so, but that's the research on state changes, on managing ourselves around time. Like, all of the evidence is there around it. And so the question then remains, what are your thoughts around time? Let's think about them. And let's think intentionally about how we want to think about time. Let's be kinder to time, right? It's a gift. And we are just talking about it in scarcity. I was never enough. I just don't think that's very nice. And we can be nicer to time, I think, right? We're nice people. If you're listening to me on this podcast, I'm sure you're amazingly nice, right? Then we have to think about what is costing us time. What are our time sucks? And what is creating time? What is allowing for us to have more time? And then once we have more time, how do we compound that? That's the work that we're doing in the membership, but that's the work that I want you to do today, after you listen to this, to really think through about, what does it mean to redefine your relationship with time? And can you create more of it so that you have more time to spend living and loving and leading in the way that you know that you want to? So have a beautiful one, everybody. Take care, and we will talk to you next time. See you soon. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Becoming You show with me, your host, Leah Roling, where I share big ideas, inspire, impact, and influence your life. Tune in every Friday at 11 Central on transformationtalkradio.com for your morning cup of coffee, the hug you never want to end, and that inspirational message that you felt was written just for you. Each show is inspiring you to become you with purpose and intention. For more information or to connect with me, visit www.leahroling.com.